Welcome to the latest edition of our Seafood News Roundup, sponsored by Urner Barry's Comtel. I'm seafoodnews.com editor Michael Ramsing, and we have another great show planned for you today. We start with a decision by the European Union's Committee on Invasive Alien Species to not list American live lobster as invasive. The committee cited technical reasons for not listing the species. We previously reported how Sweden lacked hard scientific evidence to prove that North American live lobsters pose a bona fide threat to its waters. The ruling essentially squashes any attempt by Sweden to ban imports of the item from its market. In other news, Indian shrimp supplier Devi Seafoods was named Sysco Corporation's top seafood supplier for the third straight year. Devi was among other notable seafood producers, importers, and distributors to earn recognition from Sysco's annual Supplier Excellence Awards. Sea-Watch International was named Sysco's sustainability partner, while Highliner Foods, Trident, Beaver Street Fisheries, Paul Piazza & Son, and F.W. Bryce were also recognized as key seafood suppliers to the broadline service provider. Meanwhile, Iceland's commercial fishermen appear to be on a crash course to hold a nationwide strike this November. Two major issues in the Icelandic fishing industry are fueling the potential walk-off. The first is with crews dissatisfied with the difference in fish prices paid at auction versus those that do not buy through the auction, and the other is dissatisfaction with the tax that vessel owners are charging their crews. A work stoppage could disrupt the fresh cod markets in both the U.S. and the U.K. markets. Cod was also in the news this week after the Norwegian-Russian Fisheries Commission announced that the Barents Sea cod quota will be 890,000 tons for the 2017 fishing season. This is a marginally lower quota compared to this year's catch limit and contradicts official recommendations that called for a 10% cut to the quota. This marks the second year in a row that the Joint Barents Sea Commission has ignored scientific advice and is a sign that stocks are still at a high level. Remember, you can read all of these stories in their entirety with a subscription to seafoodnews.com. As for our top story, we head to the Northeast, where the shellfish industry in Maine and down the Atlantic coast has experienced an unprecedented wave of closures in October. Issues started in Maine, when officials confirmed the first ever outbreak of domoic acid in East Coast waters and shut down shellfish harvesting and forced recalls for mussels and clams distributed to the market. The domoic acid outbreak then spread to shellfish harvesting areas in Maine, in Massachusetts, and Rhode Island, prompting similar closures but no recalls. Meanwhile, in Massachusetts, raw oyster consumption was linked to sickening 75 people with norovirus. This prompted state health officials to close oyster harvesting in Wellfleet and take raw oysters off the menu during the town's annual Oyster Fest, which was held in mid-October. Several Northeast shellfish harvesters and distributors said the widespread closures and recalls interrupted some business. Operators are generally prepared to handle closures throughout the year, but mostly because of red tide. But the domoic acid bloom was an unexpected headache, since this was the first time the East Coast industry has ever experienced such an issue. Additionally, this is an unusual time of the year for closures, since the risk of waterborne outbreaks is reduced in colder waters. But this has simply not been the case in October, given the month's dual threat of toxins. You can read more about the East Coast shellfish outbreak and more of our other major news stories by signing into seafoodnews.com and checking out our list of featured stories. And before we go, here's a quick snapshot of some current seafood market activity powered by Urner Barry's Comtel. According to the October 18th edition of Urner Barry's Seafood Price Current, the market for domestic Gulf of Mexico headless shell-on shrimp was largely unchanged but at higher price points because of ongoing supply shortages. Meanwhile, live lobster prices adjusted lower on various sizes of hard and new shell lobsters in New England because of higher supplies. And in the crab meat market, prices for blue swing crab meat rallied again because of high replacement costs with production in seasonal decline. That market report was brought to you today by our sponsor, Urner Barry's Comtel. This is the premier market intelligence platform available to wholesale traders in the seafood industry. Urner Barry's customers make smarter decisions every day when they sign up for Comtel, which gives users access to the largest historical database of seafood commodity quotations available to the industry. Comtel also features in-depth industry news coverage, powerful trading capabilities, and customizable notifications to follow the seafood items most pertinent to your business. Learn more about Urner Barry's Comtel at shop.urnerberry.com or call us at 732-240-5330 to speak with one of our sales staff today. Tell us how we're doing by tweeting at us at SeafoodComNews and at UB Seafood, and like Urner Barry and Seafood News on Facebook to learn more about what we're up to. You can also listen to Urner Barry on your mobile device through our Market Digest and Seafood News podcast series. Just search Urner Barry or Seafood News on SoundCloud, iTunes, or Google Play to hear in-depth interviews and get reports straight from our expert staff. For Urner Barry and Seafood News, I'm Michael Ramsing. Thanks for watching, and we'll talk to you guys later.